Here's what's coming up on Contributing to a Safer Ohio.
How big is it? 4 in 5 crashes are due to someone not paying attention, in a sense being distracted by something else.
Safety professionals gathered recently to raise awareness on the dangers of distracted driving. But first, Ohio Homeland Security's Strategic Analysis and Information Center has become even more efficient in reviewing, analyzing, and sharing information.
This relocation will benefit our partners throughout the state of Ohio.
These stories coming up on this episode of Contributing to a Safer Ohio. Each day since 2005, Ohio Homeland Security's Strategic Analysis and Information Center, also known as SAIC, has reviewed, analyzed, and shared information to aid local, state, and federal partners in keeping us safe. In August 2016, a social media threat to a known U.S. airline was brought to the attention of the SAIC. The threat was promptly shared with the Texas Joint Crime Information Center, who then sought the assistance of other partners. This is a great example of the type of successful collaboration the staff at the SAIC continuously strives to achieve. In an effort to continue to provide high-level services, the SAIC has recently undergone changes. The SAIC relocated the Analysis and Production Unit in the Columbus Police Fire Counterterrorism Group to form the Counterterrorism Unit. It also consolidated with the Patrol's Intelligence Unit and the Department's Threat Assessment and Protection Unit. This joint effort is now known as the Statewide Terrorism Analysis and Crime Center, or STAC.
The main benefit of the relocation is to assist all of our partners throughout the state. Those partners might include a local police department, a fire department, a sheriff's office, and we can get information to those people quickly. Some of the agencies that are represented in the center include the Columbus Police Department, the Columbus Fire Department, the Ohio State Highway Patrol, the Department of Homeland Security, and State of Ohio EMA. Now that we're in a shared space, it makes our job easier because we can offer less duplication of service and we can offer information in a more timely and efficient manner.
The STAC operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to receive suspicious activity tips, analyze information, and collaborate with law enforcement agencies and other partners to provide a safer Ohio. Last year, more than 13,000 crashes in Ohio had a reported distraction, including 39 fatal crashes. From 2014 to 2015, the number of reported distracted drivers rose 11%. Despite growing efforts to educate the public about the dangers of distracted driving, a new National Safety Council survey found 74% of drivers admitted to using Facebook behind the wheel, and 66% of drivers have talked on the phone while driving through a parking lot. More staggering is their finding that 82% of Americans feel pressure to constantly stay connected to their own family members, and 54% indicated they feel pressure from work. Recently, the Ohio Department of Public Safety hosted a Towards Zero Deaths event, bringing together safety partners in an effort to reduce fatalities and serious injuries stemming from traffic crashes. The featured speaker at this event was Dr. Paul Ashley, a professor of psychology at the University of Kansas. Dr. Ashley specializes in research on the real-world implications of multitasking. He has more than 20 years of experience in the classroom and the laboratory. Over the last decade, he has published research on the issue of distracted driving and has worked to communicate this information to safety professionals across the country.
Distractions are really anything that takes your brain, eyes, or hands away from the task of driving. Typically, when we talk about distracted driving, we're talking about things like phones, which can take our hands, brain, and eyes off the roadway. But it can include also things like conversations with passengers, reaching for things. All of these can be significant distractions. Our brain disguises from us how difficult it is to coordinate multiple tasks. We think it's easy to drive and talk on the phone or drive and text. And for the most part, because everyone else is around us driving safely, we get to where we're going and we don't experience a crash, and we think, I can drive and be distracted. We don't see how impaired we are because our brain's not paying attention enough to see how impaired we are until something really bad happens.
For example, sending or receiving a text message takes a driver's eyes off the road for an average of 4.6 seconds, the equivalent of driving the entire length of a football field at 55 miles per hour.
It's one brain trying to do both things, and your brain really has to prioritize. And when you're trying to prioritize between looking at the roadway and listening and talking, you're going to prioritize listening and talking. And what we see in the brain is resources shift into those listening and talking areas, and they shift away from the areas that are responsible for seeing the roadway and making decisions. But our brain doesn't tell us, I'm shifting to the visual, or from the visual area to the auditory area now. We just don't experience it. It's invisible to us.
According to research from the National Safety Council, vision is the most important sense for safe driving. Even drivers using hands-free phones have a tendency to look at, but not see, objects. Estimates indicate that drivers using cell phones look, but fail to see up to 50% of the information in their driving environment. Distracted drivers experience what researchers call inattention blindness, similar to that of tunnel vision. Drivers are looking out the windshield, but they do not process everything in the roadway environment that they must know to effectively monitor their surroundings, seek and identify potential hazards, and respond to unexpected situations.
What is it going to take for us to get to the point that we got to in 1981 with regard to drunk driving when MAD was formed? I think it's going to take enough people seeing deaths amongst their loved ones and really taking a stand with their legislators to make this a priority. And unfortunately, with distracted driving crashes, oftentimes it's an invisible epidemic and we just don't see those crashes, and it's not until there's a court case that we understand it was a distracted driving crash. So sadly, I think we're going to have to continue, as we've now seen this last year, see an increase in fatalities, have some real hard conversations about why that's happening, and then decide enough's enough and we'll make our roads safer.
The Ohio Department of Public Safety's awareness campaign includes video testimonials from those involved in distracted driving crashes and interviews with family members who have lost loved ones. To join the fight, visit the website on your screen.